Okay, we are having another Meet Me session with one of our members and a well-known marketer here in Toronto. Craig Lund joins us. Good afternoon, Craig. I almost said good morning.
Good afternoon.
So we do the same five questions, and I stole the Stephen Colbert sandwich question too. But we do the same five questions. But we're going to talk to you. But first, Tessa and I both know you well. But why don't you introduce yourself to the community?
Sure. Yes, my name is Craig Lund. I'm the founder of a company called MTI, formerly known as Marketing Talent Inc. We've been around for going on 14 years coming
Wonderful.
February. We essentially help large organizations with augmenting their teams with interim as well as hiring full-time staff with executive search. So I've been doing that over 20 years. A lot of people know me for what I do in my volunteer world. I run the largest mentoring program in North America for marketing professionals. It's called Mentor Exchange. It's part of the Leadership Excellence program, which also includes Career Accelerator, which is for junior people, 24 to 30-year-olds, as well as an executive coaching program that targets the senior director to CMO level. And so under that umbrella of Leadership Excellence, I've been running that for the last 15 years and I've been on the board for over 20 years with AMA.
You do not look like you're old enough to have that much experience, frankly. I'm a big fan of Craig's, but he really has been around for a long time. I mean, you're a real pro, and you've seen some amazing changes in marketing, obviously. So thanks for
Absolutely.
joining us. I've met you a couple times, but I remember you hosted an event at the Sun, whatever, was on the Sun Bank area, and I thought, wow, this guy really has it together. This was a long time ago now.
I think that would have been like one of our first social media when social media was just becoming a thing. We were struggling to even find speakers that were really truly experts. So, I mean, here we are again. We're once again in a new technical
Yeah,
tangent, and the reality is in marketing, I'd say we're probably the most disruptive vertical in business. We're constantly seeing explosion in channels, technologies and
yeah,
tools, which makes our role really challenging, and which is why sometimes getting clout with the C-suite can be a little bit difficult because we're so focused on just keeping up with what's
yeah.
happening in our environment.
Yeah, I mean, and the way people consume media is changing at just dramatic speeds, right? Cutting and all that stuff. So anyway, thanks for joining us. We're gonna talk about AI, but the what I'm our second question is how you're using AI in your personal and professional life.
So there's a few ways that I've been doing. I must say, when I first jumped on, one of the first things I started playing around was Discord. Um, and right away realized the first thing that hit me was it is not that simple to just prompt. Like it takes
Yeah,
training and experience to do that. Um, and the fact that there were more than one platform already, ChatGPT, among others, when I first jumped on, and they all kind of have their own nuances, right?
yeah,
So all that means is that, the sky is not falling. This is not going to happen overnight. There is going to be disruption from AI, but it is going to take a lot longer than people really appreciate. And this was clear in the LinkedIn does a labor a report every year, and they talk about how AI disruption is expected to happen, but it's more likely to augmentation for the first few years and then disrupt slowly over the next 5 to 10 years. So the reality is this is a great time to get on board is now. How do I use it in my personal? I'm on the board of my condo, and rather than stealing an image from Google and saying, elevator is down, or we're having a garage sale, I create some fun images using
nice.
images of our building and whatnot. That's just kind of gives me something more entertaining to do. Now, one of the reasons I actually started to do that is I got into hot water last year. I got a legal letter for using an image that I had actually promoted something from the AMA. And so I didn't have permission to use this image, which means the AMA did not have permission to use that particular image. And however, I was the one that was getting a legal notice for use of this image for $1,500. And so now what I do is I create custom images
Nice.
using Discord for when I'm doing a job posting on LinkedIn. Um, and I'm able to create images that are really closely aligned with the look and feel of my brand. It's very effective to do it. Um, here's the thing is small businesses and very small companies are really going to benefit the most
Yeah.
because large organizations that have a lot of infrastructure and access to agencies and the kind of money that can give them those resources are already doing a lot of these kinds of digital asset production and generating that amount of copy, et cetera. But small business owners are literally not able to do that. They
Yeah.
have 1 hour a week to do something in marketing. And these tools are going to allow them to kind of do something and it's going to make it accessible to them. And this is the same trend we've seen over the years with everything that's happened in marketing, whether it was first with social, then it was search marketing, search SEO, marketing automation. Before those were big box, very expensive
Yeah.
technologies, but they became made accessible because they were out of the box solutions that were much more affordable. So that's where I think is a really great thing about what we're seeing in the AI space. And then, of course, LinkedIn is another place. I think that they are built upon Copilot. I really love Copilot. And I still think that it's got a ways to go. Here's a good example, and this is a bit of a warning to people who are leveraging AI on their LinkedIn to, for example, automatically parse your resume into a really robust profile. I've seen this a few times now, and because I only look at marketing resumes, there are certain words we use a lot, things
Yeah.
like engagement. Well, I have seen that butchered multiple times and I right away know they've used the AI tool and they have not proofread. Uh, so all of a sudden, especially in marketing, we look at resumes, we look at mistakes. I'd say marketing is somewhere where we are a bit more discerning about a resume that has spelling errors or typographical errors because we are going to be putting content out to the public face, and that just doesn't reflect well on us. So putting too much faith in these tools is not a good idea. You definitely need to be keeping a close eye on what you're using. Um, and then one other thing on the personal side, I've used Copilot to help my design my itinerary for my upcoming trip to Portugal.
Nice.
As a homo, as a gay guy, when we travel, there is certain things we need to worry about. So, for example, safety. Are there certain things that I want to be able to incorporate? So, I'm a foodie. So, when I'm going to Portugal, traveling as a solo traveler who is a foodie, I can ask Copilot, how can I do that and in a safe way and see all the things that I need to see as a foodie? And I got in 2 seconds this awesome itinerary that I
Right.
can't wait to do. I'm not going to have to worry about. I would have to spend hours, crowdsourcing from friends, getting feedback, and sure, I'm going to do that as well casually. But at least I've got a framework to start with, and I can say because oftentimes it'll give you two or three suggestions of things you can do.
Yeah.
I can talk to friends like, which of these do you think I should check out or whatnot? And now I'm starting my holiday, 3 weeks away, and I already kind of have a sense of what I'm going to be doing and not worrying about figuring that out.
Well, and also, I mean, I took my first trip to Paris like I don't know, 5 years ago. And to your point, I was, I mean, I wasn't like I'm looking for gay spots necessarily, but you want to be in a safe part of town, or you want to be in a place that it's comfortable with, and support the community as best you can. And I mean, to your point, where would I do that back then? But now there's these amazing tools. And you said Discord. Are you using Midjourney for image generation or?
Yes, Midjourney predominantly. Yes,
Yeah.
I always end up saying Discord but it's the Midjourney chatbot.
Yeah, I know. I was just obsessed. I still have an account. I have a big Mac over here, and I just love just watching people using it. That alone is fascinating. So wonderful. Thanks for your review of that. I think that's what's exciting about AI. There's both personal and professional ways in, and some of them are truly exciting. I don't know if you have the advanced voice on your mobile phone now of ChatGPT. It only rolled out recently, and I got it last night, and it's amazing. It's like super fast and powerful.
Uh, I'm trying to avoid adding more apps to my phone currently while I try improve my efficiency and focus, leading out to my vacation. But I am really interested in checking it out. I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Okay, so let's go to the dark side. What do you fear most? And you know, a lot of people are worried about jobs, but I'm sure you can speak to that. But what do you fear most about AI?
Um, I mean, I'm not worried about the reality is it's going to disrupt certain categories and certain jobs. That absolutely should be. I mean, these are jobs where we already are doing what, very wealthy countries like Canada and the US do is we jobs to people in places that will do it because they have to work and have to make money and they'll do it for less. Much like we bring laborers to come up here. Um, so those are the jobs that quite simply should be, AI should be doing, should be helping us do. Like, for example, having a small business owner who doesn't want to have to figure out, what receipts should be coded in a certain way and do they have to hire a bookkeeper to do those things that are really quite simple and could easily be done by an AI. And would improve their efficiency and the ability to do the work that brings them joy, the more human side of things, and that's what I'm excited about. Where I'm worried and kind of like you think about what happened with the strikes in the film industry, I think they're valid. I think it's absolutely valid. And I know ChatGPT using Scarlett Johansson's voice without her
Yeah,
permission, despite her not giving them permission, um, are all great examples. And we know that some of these big tech companies are acting with impunity, and they're doing what they want to do. We're far behind on regulating them. I'm most concerned about what's going to happen for artists. Um, Not so much that the stuff that's coming out is so amazing from AI, but more so that it is really going to balloon the marketplace.
yeah,
So if you think about how you want to find art or get art, what's really been done by an individual, what's been done by AI, that's including music, that includes film, cartoons, all of those other things. That's what I'm most worried about because I think that creativity is our most human aspect.
yeah.
Creativity and along that with motion. Um, and that's something that we need to keep an eye on for sure. And especially
That's
because artists are already a vulnerable group. They are only the people that make it to the pinnacle truly are thriving. A lot of our artists, the starving artist is true. And so if we make it even harder for them to survive, could we potentially drive an entire population of people away from ever even exploring
yeah.
those dreams?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, and it's very well put. And I have some of my old hippie friends. I'm like, I left a cafe downtown, and someone said, "All right, keep on ruining the world one person at a time with AI." And I think it's also because if they haven't used any of the tools, it's just a big unknown. But to your point, yeah. I mean, I hope optimistically that it can make people more creative. But you're right. We're gonna suffer an onslaught of art from all. When anyone can sit down and using a text prompt and create a 5 or 10 minute short film, we're gonna see all kinds of things, and that's coming. The text to video stuff is fascinating, and there was a release yesterday of I think it's called Kling or Clang out of China, and it's very, very sophisticated. So yeah, the artist world will change. I think to go back to disruption, and we've been talking about this on Me and AI at our recent events. Education is going to be really reinvented completely. There's no, the more I read and the more I just talk to folks who are in that world, and it's not ready for it, as the PSIs and the way universities and colleges are set up. And we were talking on a roundtable recently, and both of the people on three of them were instructors, and one was at McMaster, and she was like, "Look, there's no money, no one, the enrollments are down, and now there's this huge wave coming." And many instructors or professors are like, "You can't use it. It's not working, don't bring it here," which of course is not going to work in the long run. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing too. And then even if you look towards the look at sales, I mean, already automation
yeah.
has really created havoc. I mean, I get pitch slapped probably 15 times a day.
Do you really? I
It
mean,
is
I get a couple, but yeah,
oh
you would probably test it too,
insane. Insane.
right?
I got
A
15,000
lot.
people that follow me on LinkedIn. So that means that everybody has, well, those people have access to my email address and all of a
Yeah,
sudden, and what they're getting worse at is that there's no way to opt out. They're not following castle guidelines.
right.
And so now that's just from automation. Now, when AI starts to do that even
Yeah,
faster, so guess what? I'm already desensitized to it. I'm already not paying
sure.
attention to it. So the efficacy of those sales processes, which are just currently being automated, like there's a new AI I just came across called Jason.ai, and it's
Yeah,
basically automates AI sales.
yes,
And
yes,
I'm like, oh, that sounds cool for me. But then I'm also thinking about how fast is this going to take us to a point where this channel is just not going to be effective,
right.
or it's just going to disenfranchise a huge ton of people? Because
Yeah.
I'm an early adopter on a disenfranchisement side of things.
Well, but and also even if they're mock, even if it's a brand you don't know, it's an immediate turnoff. But then with all the phishing and all the phony brand stuff, I don't know whether it's universal, but like how many text spams are you getting a day? I'm getting like four, five, six, seven, like some days, pretending
Well,
to be
that's the thing.
Purolator or FedEx or something.
Yeah, or even my brand's been used to
Your
spoof
own?
jobs. So
Oh my
people have gotten
God.
text messages that I've offered them a job, and
Oh
now
my
they've actually gone on
God.
to Google and written bad. And so they're diminishing my Google ranking
That's
because
awful, Craig.
yeah, yeah. And I've written to Google and I've actually commented on these things saying, this is, you go to my website, you can see I have a piece on the fraud and how to avoid it and how to protect yourself. We would never just text message you a random job opportunity
Right,
without looking
right,
at your resume or whatnot
right.
with and a salary offer. That's not going to happen. But unfortunately, the same people who think that we actually did that are also going to write an angry review on Google,
Yeah.
and Google's not really doing much to step up and manage that either, because
Well,
that's
and
going to
that
start to
that's
happen more.
terrible because that's exactly why they would target you because you've been around a while. You're known as a marketing recruiter in Toronto, and you're a very well-known name. And here you are being attacked on your brand for like a terrible reason.
Yeah.
That's awful to hear. Yeah, I think it's another reason why we need to be involved. That's kind of why Liz and I started Me and I in many ways. Is like, Google's not gonna, Google can barely help you, but the government can't keep the subways running on time. How are they going to protect us from rogue AI? So that's why Liz and I started in many ways, so that we kind of become part of the discussion. And just having it is important, and especially for marketing because marketing is at the forefront for so many of these touch points, right? And changing so fast, marketing education. All right, let's go to the positive stuff. What do you hope AI can improve in the short term,
I
personally,
kind of touched
personally
on
and
this.
professionally? Sorry.
Well, on for both. I
Yeah,
think that AI is going to be amazing to get rid of the mundanity of
yeah,
things. the the trivial things that take up our time that we don't enjoy. Think about it. The administration, what we used to call home economics. If you were old enough to be in high
yes,
school and see that course, um, and household management, and the same thing, like basic things in business and small companies that you're not making money on doing the books for the company. You're making money on being a seamstress and or selling those books at your bookstore and whatnot. And all of the mundane things that people do not become small business or businesses to do. That is not why they start the
No,
companies.
you're right.
Um, and so I think that AI is going to allow them to operate their business, spend more time, potentially having more opportunity to grow, earn more, and leverage those tools to their benefit. So again, I think, yeah, the mundane things will go away fast, who take the time now to figure out how they can use these tools to help them,
It's
or
funny.
companies can create tools around that.
It's funny how when you started talking about Monday, the first thing that flashed into my mind was doing my expenses at Cineplex when I worked there. Just because, right? You know what I mean? And we've seen some case studies in our training about how AI can be used for that. And I mean, I worked with a colleague, bless his heart, he's dead now, but he was one of those guys that would never do his expenses or just wait until the last minute. Tess is waving her arm. And they, eventually they called him on it and they said, look, we're going to cancel your card. And he was down the office from me and I said, Mark, how bad is it? And he just showed me his desk covered with receipts. It took him a day, like an entire day, because the actual process at Cineplex, which was a lovely job, but you had to scan each one, give it a category, and then there was a portal at Scotiabank that was only for Cineplex. Like it was a two-step tedious process.
Awful.
Yeah, terrible, terrible. But yes, also, if you view it that way and you apply it to businesses small and large, the increased efficiency alone is exciting. I mean, if you're dorky in that regard, because even internal business processes can be so, just tedious, and people hate their jobs because of it. All righty then, let's get to the final question, the most important one. Craig Lund, what is the best sandwich?
Um, I have two answers because my automatic favorite Sunday sandwich that I make very often is a steak sandwich.
Ah,
I love a steak sandwich. But a more recent sandwich that I've been enjoying a lot, and it's kind of take on Anthony Bourdain's favorite sandwich. It's what they call the mortaza. Essentially, is it what you would take pizza dough and you kind of fold it over and you bake it just like a pizza. There's olive oil so
oh,
it doesn't stick
that's
together.
that's what that's called. Okay.
Mortaz, and it's stuffed with lemon ricotta, pistachios, and mortadella. And it
Oh,
is like walking on the streets of Florence. Like it is so tasty. It's a great sandwich.
Craig Lund, you bougie girl. Like that sounds absolutely. I've seen it on TikTok too. I didn't know the name of it. Wow.
Mortaz. And it's so good. I mean, you could switch it out and you could put like buffalo mozzarella instead
Yeah.
of using the ricotta and some pesto, and but the concept is the same, and it's just every time I've served it, it's been such a crowd pleaser because it's easy. And
You bake it with the stuff inside, or do you just bake it
No,
No.
inside and
it's
then?
basically the bread. So you take the bread, let it round, put some oil, close it up, just tear a hole in the top, bake it at 450, 500 for 7 minutes until it's golden.
Yeah.
And because you've oiled it, it just pulls open.
Wow. Okay.
So
I'm
you,
gonna
Yeah,
so
look up.
you're basically making a sandwich filling, but then you put it in. I've seen it
yeah,
on TikTok and I follow you on Instagram. I know you're a foodie. That's a great recommendation because I bake bread regularly. So there you go.
exactly. You
There
could
you-
use your sourdough instead of and use it to make a pizza style instead of a full starter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Lund adding value as always. So that's wonderful. I'm gonna definitely try it out. All right, listen, thanks so much for spending some time with me. Also, let's talk a little bit before we go. How's the job market these days? Is it as bad as it seems, or because you're at front line with this?
So, I mean, and so for those who know, 2023 was the worst year in 33 years for staffing
Wow.
industry. It's literally the first time we've ever seen this happen, and completely any recruiter you could say, if anybody was telling you otherwise, they were lying.
Yeah.
Um, we know this happened partly because also 2022, there was a lot of money thrown around by the government. That created a artificial sense that we were out of the recession from the
Right.
pandemic. Once that dried up, the reality of what was happening. So it looked like we did this and we went back, that if that money wasn't there, we just would have slid down. And some people argue we would have come out of things faster. However, things were in Canada specifically. We didn't expect things to pick up until the end of this second quarter, which is exactly what we saw. And things have picked up. Are they what they were before the pandemic? No, absolutely
Right.
not. Are they starting to pick up a little bit more than what they were in the summer? Yes. But it is by no means a gangbuster marketplace
Yeah.
yet. And I think part of that has to do with our friends to the south, while they're bickering about who's going to be the next boss of the USA.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always going to cause skittishness in the market. And specifically, what kind of investments the CEO wants to make and when they want to make that decision. A lot of people are looking at that stuff as well. So it's
Are
not
you?
just automation and AI disruption. That stuff's happening.
Yeah.
But it's other market factors, and of course the two wars going on as well.
Yeah. Are you seeing any, especially in the marketing roles, are you seeing AI rolling out into job descriptions and things or discussions, or is it more like everywhere anyway?
I think it's not yet.
Yeah.
I have seen specialized roles.
Yeah.
So, for example, a company that is looking to implement ADA or ADA chatbots into their company,
Yeah.
and they're looking for people that have the skill sets to do that. But that's pretty specialized, and I'd say that's much more technical than what we're seeing in general marketers. We are seeing people still using the mainframe tools, so whether it's the marketing automation tools or whatnot, and the ability to leverage AI. So we're not seeing people specifically looking for that yet. I think it's still very interim, and it's smart time to start getting those skills underway, because I think it's going to be folded into. It's just
Yeah.
expected that you know how to
Yeah.
draft copy very quickly on the fly using whichever tool you decide to use, and can do that. It's going to be an expectation. I don't think it's necessarily going to be folded into job descriptions
Yeah.
in a lot of cases.
Makes perfect sense. Alrighty then. Well, there you go. We got around to after the sandwich, we got back to the real world. But thanks again for stopping by and talking to the community. I'll post the recording in the next day or so. And have a great trip to Portugal. I want to hear how it goes too.
Yes, Portugal, and then 20 days in South Africa. Got to visit my family as well.
Oh, look at you. There you go. It's a
Sounds
nice time to
good.
get away. Have a wonderful trip,
Working
Craig.
remote, working remote.
There you go.
Good to
Thanks
see you,
again.
Craig.
Nice to see you,
Bye-bye.
Tessa and Stephen. Bye. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for
Bye.
having me.
Thank you.